Hello and welcome to 19 O'Clock News, a Kodocha podcast. My name is Mahou Shoujo M, also known as Daily Kodocha, and today I am joined by my co-host.
That Kodocha Girl, also known as Ari.
And today is two things. First thing, it is the beginning of our fourth year doing the podcast. This is year four. Or I guess like the beginning of year four. So I guess it's the end of year three. We've been doing this a while.
And it sure
First thing.
doesn't feel like it. I
It really
know I
doesn't.
say that a lot, but I was actually telling my husband earlier today, I was like, yeah, I've been doing this Kodocha thing on the internet and the fandom for like 3, 4 years now. And it
Hmm.
really feels like I just started all this.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. It's like wild to think. I guess it's 2022 is when we kicked off, and so it's like, oh
Hmm.
wow, that was 3 years ago. Um, it's been really lovely. It's been a really lovely ride, and I'm happy to be on it with you.
Me too.
And so, in terms of topics to kick off year four, it was time for another character analysis, we felt. And given the month, it felt appropriate to finally tackle the topic of analyzing Akito Hayama.
Been waiting for this one.
Yeah.
I, it's really hard for me to pick a favorite character in Kodocha, but gosh, Akito is he's such a great character.
Yes. It's so funny to hear you say that because I definitely think in a previous episode at some point you have said that Sana like was your favorite character bar none.
Yeah, she is, but it's like Akito is, like I said, he's a great character, but
Hmm.
he doesn't really like Sana has that something special to me about her,
Hmm.
and Akito does too, but for Sana it's just my personal preference. Like she just like her attitude and her growth really like resonates with me personally. So I think that's why she's my favorite. But Akito, I can really appreciate his development as a person who loves to write.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. I think I've said in the past, and I think I stand by this, that Akito is my favorite character in Kodocha. It sort of became my favorite character in Kodocha because like the more I like time I spent like really considering his character, the more that I was just like, I love this angel baby boy and would die for him. So that's not to say that I don't like love Sonic, because like obviously you kind of have to, because if you're going to be a Kodocha fan, because like gosh, if you're a person who hates the main character of Kodocha, like it must be a really miserable watching and or reading experience.
So
Um,
I have a fun story.
get in it, yeah. What?
And I feel bad like if this person like happened to stumble upon this and listen to this, but
Yeah.
oh my God. I had an ex, right? I made him watch
Hmm.
Kodocha, and I remember him saying that he didn't want to continue watching it because he hated Sana and found her to be so annoying. And like
Ugh.
I felt physically insulted from that.
Yeah.
This person is an ex for a reason.
Yeah. You broke up with him like immediately, right?
Well, no, but it was pretty, it was shortly after that.
I'm like, my husband is starting to develop an interest in Kadocha, um, which I'm excited about and trying not to like push too hard. Um, but I did several years ago now try to get him to watch the first episode of Cardcaptor Sakura, and he was like, "Wow, I hate this," and I was like, well, we had a good run, and I'll see you later,
Oh
and or never."
no. That's
And
always the worst.
it
I'm
is.
surprised that my husband got through Fruits Basket because he really didn't like the first season. But
Yeah,
then after that, he started to like it once
yeah.
we got into season 2 and season 3. But yeah, I'm surprised that he still wanted to continue. But I kept like telling him like it gets better because I'm personally my favorite seasons. Like I feel like each season Fruits Basket gets better. That's just my opinion.
I would
Um,
agree.
so I kept telling him like it gets better, it gets better. And he's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yes." And luckily he really enjoyed it by the end.
That's good. I'm glad. Because it is a great show and definitely one of those ones that's worth putting the time into. And yeah, I do agree. I think like it just really picks up as it goes. It's very much a crescendo. My husband loved Fruits Basket. That one was easy. But just couldn't get him into the magical girl stuff. Well, not that magical girl anyway. I showed him the pilot of the Tokyo Mew Mew reboot, and he really liked that. So I was like, okay, well, who knows?
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You got
Anyway,
one magical girl show.
I'll take it. It is one of those things where like I have a saying in my real life that I use a lot. My friends find it very annoying, but it is truly one of the only ways I have been able to like find peace when I have a disagreement with somebody, particularly about pop culture. And I just go, it's okay to be wrong. And that like it gives me the freedom to just like walk away from it. I don't feel the need to like convince them. They don't feel the need to convince me. We can both just chuckle, go, haha, it's okay to be wrong, and move on. Otherwise, I'm gonna throw down over fictional characters.
Oh my gosh. I know that feel.
Oh
All
yeah.
right.
Okay.
Let's move on into the topic. So let's talk about Akito's first appearance in the series. So he shows up very early on. He's the
Mm-hmm.
second main character of the show. So of course he's gonna show up pretty early. So he's introduced, of course, in the first episode as the central antagonist. He's the bully. And what was your first impression of him? Like, what did you think was going to happen when he was first introduced in the series?
See, I had a weird experience because I didn't watch the series sequentially. The first episode I saw was episode 8, in which point he is already pretty established as the canonical love interest. So when I scooched on back to episode 1 and started from the beginning, I already kind of knew where we were going, and so was making excuses for him from like the beginning. So, but I'm really curious to hear what your first impressions were as somebody who did not have an inkling of what was coming.
So, my first experience with Kodocha, and I know I've told this story on Twitter and probably on our podcast before, was I stumbled upon it uh, on YouTube, the first opening with 19 o'clock news.
Mm.
So I got the impression that Sana was actually like in love with him just based on the
Mm.
intro because she kept following him around and taking his picture. And I was like, oh, is she like stalking him or um but when I started the series, when I saw that first episode, I had a feeling like it was gonna go in that direction, like we were gonna see another side of him. I didn't really know how it was gonna go down. I was actually shocked by how that was presented. I wasn't expecting it to be such a an intense thing that he was going through. Like his
Mhm.
sister was verbally abusive to him and his dad was ignoring him. Like, I don't know, I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting that level of angst in the show
Mhm.
initially. So that was pretty cool. But I was expecting it to probably like eventually like he ends up being the love interest. I felt like that
Mhm.
was kind of obvious. But I wasn't sure how they were going to develop that. And I was
Uh,
pleasantly surprised because I felt like they did it in such a gritty, realistic way.
mhm. I definitely agree. It is pretty wild to think that like that first arc of the series is kind of wrapped up within like with like Akito causing problems in the classroom is like wrapped up within like 7 episodes. Basically 6, 7 episodes. So it is like kind of a quick move, but it feels fine. Like it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like it's not given time. I think it's paced well in that respect.
I
Um,
agree.
Now, what I am curious about, and this is to all of you fair listeners, I want an American fan who doesn't have to be American, I guess, somebody who watched the English dub, who had only seen Kodocha with the ultra relax opening theme. I want to know what your first impressions of Akito were. If you don't have like the kind of I wouldn't say spoilers of the opening theme song animation, but like the foreshadowing, I guess, or me who just watched the series out of order.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I want to know what I want to know what those people think.
yeah, I do too actually, because like now that I'm going over like all the different scenes in that first opening in my head, like there's
Hmm.
that scene where they like Sana and Akita are kind of staring up at the sky and they look at each other kind of
Yes.
romantically. I feel like that's kind of a big giveaway to yeah, they're gonna
Hmm.
eventually, get together.
Oh yeah. I mean, he grabs her boobie like right after that.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's in the opening credits. Like
Yeah, this is
junior high
definitely
schoolers doing groping. Yep.
this is this is definitely a Daichi production here.
Yep. Although to be fair,
Was in the manga.
it wasn't the manga. So,
But Daichi, he has to
oh
play that
yeah, no,
stuff up.
it's oh that he do, that he do. But yes, I am curious, folks, friends who didn't have like any kind of external context for who Akito was or was going to be. What were your thoughts? I'm very curious and legitimately want to know. So drop it into the comments, drop it into the chat. I do love that first scene where he's introduced though. Like one, the music is so good in that scene, like the kind of like the like almost like the siren sound.
Yeah,
um, you know what I'm talking about? And like
yeah.
yeah, and then just like that slow pan up and he's listening to his tiny headphones, which were like extra cool. It's a great intro. Too cool.
I know. It's a perfect first impression. And
Hmm.
I honestly, my favorite moment from that first episode and sequence is probably when the class, it's towards the end of the episode when the class gets really quiet and he pulls out we don't know what it is exactly yet, but he pulls out the piece of paper and like it's completely silent.
Mm.
And it's like the way that they set this up was like I don't know, like my mind just went to the darkest place. Like, what is he thinking of? Like, and then you realize, it's a picture of the teachers getting it on.
Schmoochin'. Yeah, it's just so funny. I wish I could remember like what I was thinking when I watched those early episodes, but it was so long ago now. Like that, like knowing those episodes, like knowing what happens is like so like in my bones, like that I can't remember before that.
Yeah.
Really, I do like I remember my main thought when I got started with the series was having caught that last like 10 minutes of episode 8 or whatever. I didn't know that it was only the eighth episode in the series. I was like, oh, this has got to be like episode like 45 or something. Like nobody's allowed to smooch until you've done time. And that proved to not be true. So yeah, it's interesting. I wish I could remember what 13-year-old M thought was going on with all that. But I will say though, that pilot, I've seen that episode probably more than any of the others because it's the one that when I try to get somebody to watch Kodocha, I watch it with them. And I surely have done my best many times.
Me too.
Um, you know, and it really is a perfect pilot. Like every time I watch it, I'm just like, yeah, no notes. This is a great intro to a series. Um,
Yeah, I'd say, it might be probably the best episode in the series.
ooh.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just it's so good. Like the writing is flawless, the pacing is flawless, but
Mhm.
there's so many good episodes. It's
There
really hard to
are.
say, which one's the best. But I guess if I have to pick one, maybe that one. I don't know. We'll have to
Wow.
do a top 10 list one of these days.
Yeah, I'd have to give that some serious thought. The pilot would definitely make my top 10 for sure. I don't know if it would have the number one spot though. I need to think about that. I don't know what this says about me as a person, but the first thing that popped to my head was episode 65,
Five.
the one where they say goodbye.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
don't,
my
I'm like, that's the episode where we have the confession, Fuka finds out, we have our meaningful hug with Always Be With You. Like, I love that episode. Like, it hurts so good.
God. That is a good one. Uh,
Ah, yeah. In any case, rolling back to the conversation, do we have any other thoughts about that first appearance impressions, or do we want to get into like his development?
I think I'm ready to talk about his development.
Yeah, let's get in there.
There, I don't even know where to start. I
I
mean,
know. I literally have like bullet list right here of just like all of the things that he learns how to do over the course of the series. Because I don't want to be like this poor boy was like not a human before Sana, but he becomes. I guess he could. I wouldn't say he becomes more human. He connects with his humanity so much more. He's not just floating along anymore.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, he really finds his both his strengths and his weaknesses.
mhm.
And he really becomes resilient after he meets
Mm.
Sana.
That is so fun that you say that. Because one, you're absolutely right. That is true. But I pulled kind of the flip side of that, which is that he learns how to be vulnerable because of
Mm,
Sana. And I
that
think
too.
both are true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Mm. It's deep.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite scenes with him, which I'll talk about when we go over our favorite scenes towards the end of our episode tonight,
Hmm.
is actually one where he is probably the most vulnerable that we see him in the entire series.
The last volume?
Yes,
Are we thinking of the same thing? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Because yeah, I also noted that in this section because I was thinking about like the way that he like learns how to experience emotions and like the full like spectrum of emotion. Like, he learns how to like laugh, not just like darkly chuckle, but like actually laugh at something.
hmm
Sana's Samu. Um,
How can you not not laugh at
exactly.
that?
Exactly. And so it's like we have that side of the spectrum where he like is learning how to like laugh and experience joy all the way over into like being so vulnerable and having that emotional outburst and an emotional outburst that isn't anger, which I think is the only one that he feels safe to have
Mhm.
before him and
You know,
Sana.
I also feel like he becomes I wouldn't say that he was necessarily a selfish person at the start of the series, but he definitely becomes more selfless as it goes on. Like
Mm,
he puts more weight into the feelings of others as he matures. And we definitely see this during the Kazuyuki arc because he goes after this kid that he didn't even know until like the day before. And just because he could see himself, in Kazuyuki, he was alone like
mhm.
he was, and I feel like he learned to give back. And I think that's one of my favorite aspects of his growth in the series is the fact that he was able to, give back what Sana gave to him.
Yes. I love that. That's very well said that he's able to take that and pay it forward. And I think one of the things that I love about Akito's development is like none of it is like surface level or like for her necessarily. It's innate. It's something that he like actually absorbs and it like literally changes who he is.
Hmm.
Um, and even without Sana, like when she goes filming at the end of the series, when they're separated, like those things don't change because she's gone.
Hmm.
um, he still is living life as a more open, expressive, caring person than he did at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, it's just a great thing to see through the
Mm-hmm.
series. It's like I said at the beginning of our show, like he's just a great character. Like he's one of the most well-developed characters in shoujo manga and anime, in my opinion. That's why
I
he's
would agree.
definitely my favorite male lead because his development is just so like he's definitely not the same person at the start of the series as he is at the end. And it's just it's such an emotional journey to
Hmm.
watch and read. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I hear you and I agree. It is one of the things that makes him a great character. I was actually thinking about how, like, I think in one of Obana's early author notes in the manga, she was talking about how she was surprised how many people were like Team Akito from the get-go. She thought she was gonna have to like do more convincing. Um,
hmm
I guess like she thought that maybe people wouldn't come around on him until after they like knew him better, but people were kind of like 10 toes down.
Let's be real. Girls like bad boys.
They do. Like, I don't like, especially in shoujo manga, I feel like in life for me, no. Like I married a cinnamon roll of a man and I love him and I would not change him.
Yeah.
Shoujo manga bad boys, different. Is
I
there
can't say
banter? Are
the
they
same.
arguing? Are they fighting?
I won't say anything about my husband because he's gonna be so embarrassed if I say this, but I want to
Yeah.
so bad.
I'm really banking on him never listening to
I
this.
doubt he will, so I'll just say it. Let's just say that my husband likes to cosplay like he's a bad boy, but deep down he's a
Oh,
cinnamon roll.
oh. See, I love that. That and if is that not the most like shoujo manga male lead love interest bullshit of all time?
It kind of is. Oh my gosh.
He's so tough, but actually, he's very thoughtful.
This is embarrassing.
Teehee. Okay, we can stop, but hey, hey. Okay, now I'm done. This time for real.
All right.
Um, but yes, I agree. Fantastic development. This is just one of those things, like I know we say it probably every week, but just like it's just such a well-written series. And I think that is what kind of like cinches the whole thing together and makes Akito a character that you can not only forgive but root for is a testament to the writing.
You know what I love actually about his development is, we see Sana's intervention with him and we see him, getting into karate and I'd say he's pretty well adjusted. And then they get into middle school and he's tested a lot. Like we
Hmm.
see a lot of things thrown his way.
Hmm.
He starts getting abused again, but this time he's verbally and physically abused by his teacher. Um,
Hmm.
so it's like, you know, he never really gets a break through the series. And I really loved how that whole situation with the Sengoku, I love how that didn't break him. Like,
Hmm.
he was going through that really rough time, but he ended up coming out of it and he never really resorted back to his old ways.
Hmm. Yeah, I I agree. I do think it's like one of those things where I'm like, if you were to ask him about it, like, what do you think he would say? And I think he would probably be like, shrug and be like, I've been through worse, you know? Like,
Yeah,
what's this like extremely pathetic adult man who wears a toupee gonna be the thing that takes out our boy? No, 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 no.
that makes sense as to why, he just I feel like Tsuyoshi in some of these scenes, like
Oh my
like
God.
Akira just like casually back talks and it's like I'm like Tsuyoshi in the background, like, what did you say?
It's like, can you please stop making things harder? That is one of those recurring themes throughout the series is about like how Akito is not great at respecting authority and doesn't do well with polite speech and like does kind of rub some of those people the wrong way, especially people like Sengoku who um kind of get off on. the power of being an educator,
Hmm.
which is also just like weird and wild because like it's a lot harder to become a teacher in Japan than it is in the US. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's a really lengthy process and it's just structured very differently too. More on that another time. I'll link something in the description box if anybody wants to read more about how it works. But
Please do.
um yeah, we'll do. But yeah, it is kind of crazy that the existence of Akito makes Sengoku like so mad that he's willing to risk like so much.
All because he reminds him of bullies that he had when he was in school.
It's
It's
like,
just so
fellas,
petty.
you ever been so triggered? Like,
I feel like, and now that you've mentioned how difficult it is to be an educator in Japan, like it does make me think of like how realistic that situation really is. Like I wonder if that's even a common thing that happens. I mean I'm sure, there are teachers who are abusive in Japan. I'm not saying that that's not realistic. I'm just saying like I wonder how often it happens.
if I had to pose a guess, I'd probably guess that it's more common in the more rural areas, but in a metropolitan area like Tokyo, I think it's probably less likely because there are more people living and wanting to teach there than there are out in the country, you know?
Yeah.
That's just my
Yeah.
guess though. I don't actually know that, but I'm like, I think if it were to happen, it'd probably be somewhere where like, they really can't afford to lose a teacher.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But who's to say?
Who knows?
I
Worth
mean, there's
researching.
worth researching. But yeah, it is I mean, that is just like one of those things about Kodocha too, which is it's like it's a realistic series in the sense that it's like based in realism and that everything that happens within it is relatively plausible. But like it's also a drama, so we're gonna have some drama, you know?
Hmm. And I
There you
do
go.
love the drama in this series. It's
It's,
it's tasteful.
yeah, tasteful is a good way of putting it.
Sometimes my probably my biggest pet peeve in some shoujo series that I've read is sometimes they go into the soap opera territory where like the drama is just there for drama's sake. But I
Hmm.
never feel that way in Kodocha.
Hmm. I agree. Yeah, I think like my first read through of the manga, I kind of felt that way about like that final arc, but then upon reread, I feel completely differently. Um, but like the closest I ever got to feeling that way with Kodocha was volume 9. It's like, if we were happy, just let us be happy and stay happy.
Yeah, that was sad. Oh well.
That it was.
They end up together, so
They
I'm
do.
okay with that. We got
Yeah.
a we got Deep Clear, and I know you
And
have mixed
honestly,
feelings about Deep Clear, but
I
I,
sure
I
do.
liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got mixed feelings on Deep Clear, but what makes me really happy are two things. First thing, that little bonus chapter at the end of the Mizuno Yakuta manga, where they're just like he's watching the movie for the first time. And then I also love our the beauty 6 page thing that we just got.
Oh yeah, I love that too. I've
That's
actually not read the Mizuno Yakata
oh, it's
thing.
like it can't be more than 2 pages, but yeah, it's Akito watching the movie for the first time and then Sana kind of teasing him. It's very cute. Definitely go track that down. Anytime they're
I
like in
actually,
high school
yeah,
and dating makes me happy.
yeah, I actually just got a physical copy of that a few months ago, and
Hmm.
I looked through it a little bit. Of course, it's in Japanese. I can't actually read it, but I looked through it, and I did
Hmm.
notice there was a bonus chapter, but I didn't really know what was going on. So
Ah, yes. I'm like, I don't know if you want me to tell you or if you'd rather find a
I
translation.
want to read it myself.
Okay. Read it yourself, circle back and tell me what you think when you do. It's cute. So I like forgive Deep Clear if only because I have these other things that make me happy. And honestly, I want influencer Obana to get more brand deals and make more comics, please.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't care if it's commercialism. Give me more. What do you want me to buy? Like, I'll do anything.
And I hope she knows that like she gets free promotion from me on my YouTube channel. So
Gosh, yeah. Where were we?
so we were talking about Akito's development. I didn't really have anything else
Mm,
I wanted to say on that. Did you?
no. So now we're gonna get into the really dramatic stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that probably the Kazuyuki arc is one of my favorites in the series just because
Mm.
we get to see, it's a culmination of all the things that Akito's been through. And it's that, that
Mm.
moment where he's like, he sees himself, his old self, and somebody else, and he wants to reach out and help. And,
Hmm.
he almost loses his life for it. And we get this beautiful scene where he gets to talk to his mother.
Hmm.
And every time I read that scene, I cry. It's just such a powerful scene. And it's a reminder to Akito to keep on going and keep on living. And, we always talk about how that's the overall theme of the series is go on living. And I love
Hmm.
that. It's definitely, I feel like that whole scene and moment is definitely a centerpiece of the series.
I would definitely agree. And it's also, I mean, that arc is so important for so many reasons, but I think that one of the biggest things that it does is it really kind of helps not just Akito, but also Sana and Fuka to kind of like get some perspective. um,
Hmm.
a little bit because they're very entrenched and embroiled in like their own feelings and drama at that point in the series, and there's a lot of anxiety around it, and there's a lot of ill feelings and all kinds of stuff that goes with it. And I think that it kind of helps all of them kind of like zoom out, see the bigger picture,
Hmm.
and like kind of realize what's important. Like that's what triggers Fuka to kind of do what's best for Akito and step away, and Akito to actually like tell her that that's what he needs her to do.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when like Sana, I think, really realizes, or I think comes to terms with the fact that she was that close to losing him, and Akito realizes that he needs to like he's been spending so much time like stuck with this guilt and kind of like paying for his sins, but he hasn't moved on and actually started living yet. So
Yeah.
I love that arc for that reason also.
Yeah, you put that really well. Yeah.
Thank you. But yes, I do agree. It's one of the center point of the series for sure. I do think that this arc is also in some ways a turning point, not just for Akito, but like a little bit for the series also. It's kind of when like stuff gets really real.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I'd say probably, you know, I mentioned earlier how, the series always got very raw and
Mm.
gritty. It was unexpected to me. But I feel like here, and we don't really get this in the anime, unfortunately, but in the
Boo.
manga, it's like I'd say that was probably the first situation where like somebody was actually in a situation that they could actually die. I don't think
Mm.
that was a thing before. I mean, even with Tsuyoshi and his dad, like we never really knew, if there was like any kind of like death threats in that situation. That was kind of just, we got to learn a little bit more about his home life, but we didn't really get a super clear picture of what exactly was happening. Like we knew there was physical stuff
Mm.
going on and, the
Yeah.
family needed to get away, but we don't know if anyone's life was necessarily in danger.
Hmm.
But this arc, it definitely takes it a step further when it comes to the stakes.
100%. I have nothing to, I'm like, I don't think I have anything to add to that, and I certainly don't disagree. It is the stakes definitely jump up.
Now, one thing I want to mention is the comment that Akito makes when, everything's kind of said and done and he's out of the hospital and he's back in school and the whole Sengoku thing doesn't really get resolved exactly. Like he just kind of like disappears from the rest of the series, which
Hmm.
I actually would like to say that the anime actually did a better job with
Yeah,
Sengoku.
there's a wrap up at least, yeah.
But I really like the comment that Akito makes. He says to Sana, like, if I didn't have you, I would be like Kazuyuki or Sengoku. And I do wonder sometimes, if Sana never intervened, what would Akito be like in junior high? Would he
Mm.
like be leading a bigger gang of boys, like what exactly would he have been like? And I
Mm.
often wonder about that sometimes. Like would he have gotten worse? Would he have become a big bully like Sengoku, or would he have isolated himself more like Kazuyuki and kind of disappeared into the background?
Mm. It's an excellent thought. I do love that scene that you're referencing, the I think I'm lucky um
Hmm.
exchange. I do love that so much. But you're right. I mean, it's like we can presume that if Sana had not intervened, like with his home life, if all she did was like make peace in the classroom and then like leave it alone, that he would still be getting verbally abused at home. He would still be being ignored. Like his nutrition would probably be a whole disaster.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and he wouldn't be in karate. He wouldn't like so definitely would have I think yeah, I think you're probably onto something. Probably would have none of those intervening things that helped him round out into a more mature person like would have happened. I think he just would have become increasingly angry and violent with no real healthy outlet.
Yeah, I'd probably argue that he probably would have. It makes me sad to think of this. Like he probably would have done jail time. Poor guy.
Yeah, probably. That feels plausible. Especially before he really got like a handle on like his anger and stuff. I like he probably would have like assaulted a cop or something.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
you
I
know.
mean, he has a problem with authority, and it still kind of
Hmm.
stays with him even after,
Oh yeah.
he's quote unquote rehabilitated.
Yeah. Nobody in all of anime has needed to be their own boss more than Akito Hayama,
Yeah.
which is ironic considering that canonically he does not do that. Um, but But yeah, that arc is really, really solid. And one of my favorite moments actually in that arc, and it's a silly moment, like one like little half joke in part of a bigger scene, but it's when Kazuyuki asks if he can list Akito as a friend, and Aya's like, how do you not know his name? And then gives Akito the wrong name. And
So rude.
then he's like, good going, and then like kicks her a little bit. And I don't know, that little friendshipy, silly moment always made me giggle because we
Yeah,
don't get that
I
many moments where they get to be friends.
I feel that way about Aya in general. I feel like we don't get enough of her in the show. I feel
Give
like I
me
feel like we
more.
definitely need. I don't know. I feel like it would have been cool to like get some like dramatic backstory about her.
I don't know. This is like just like coming to me off the top of my head, but I'm like, she learned to bake from her grandmother who died when she was very young or something. Like, I don't know.
Hmm, I like it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking dark thoughts like, oh, the reason she's so timid is because of some like she has an older sister that bullies her or something.
Oh no. You know?
Actually, that could be kind of interesting, like if that was canon, because that could be something that her and Akito could bond over. Like,
Mm.
oh, your sister is mean too.
Yeah, it's definitely an idea. But it's kind of not the point of discussing this arc, but it was a moment of levity that I appreciated in a
Mhm.
kind of forest of sad moments and darkness.
Yeah, I like it too.
Anything else we want to add on?
I feel like I said everything I wanted to on that arc.
Okay, I think I did too.
By the
Is it?
way, if you haven't already, you should go watch my video on that arc that I just put
Oh,
out
I
about a month
haven't.
ago.
Oh, I haven't. Yes, I will do that. I will do that.
I'm
I
talking
will
to
do.
you and our
Yeah.
listeners.
Yes. Everybody definitely always go watch all of Ari's videos because they are so well put together and so interesting. And she's just so smart and well spoken, guys. Um,
And I want to give a shout out to Jacob for commenting on my editing. That made me
aw.
really happy that you noticed that my editing has gotten better because Jacob, your editing is just flawless. I love it. So it means a lot coming from you. So if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah. Jacob's editing is really good. I thought yours was always been really good,
Oh yeah, but yeah,
but I need
it's
to see something
improving.
new to see where it's okay. Okay.
Oh,
I'll do
please
that. I'll
do.
do that.
Please watch it. I'm so proud of this video.
I will. I will. I'm sorry that I haven't. It's
Oh, you're
truly just been
fine.
well, you are aware of my day-to-day tasks and schedule, so you know
Yeah.
why I haven't, but I will.
All
Oh,
right.
okay.
So,
That's it.
all right, let's jump into the Fuka trenches here.
You know, I do feel so much freer jumping into those trenches after we did like her character analysis video.
Me too, actually.
Yeah, where it's like, before I was like, well, I say that. I was gonna say, like, before I was too scared to say what I really thought of Fuka. That's never been true once. I have been defending her since day one of this podcast. But I definitely, it's like, if you still got a problem with Fuka in the year of our Lord 2025 and like 30 something 19 o'clock news episodes later, I'm just gonna refer you to that analysis. Just go listen to that and then come talk.
Fuka, she's
Fuka,
aged
Fuka,
like
Fuka.
fine wine to me.
Mm.
She's every time I rewatch or reread the series, she grows on me a little bit more. Because, I didn't like her at first either. I think a lot of
Ow.
people don't, just because you're so invested in the Sana and Akito relationship, and she comes in and
Hmm.
she messes with that flow a little bit, and it's like, oh no. And so I get why people don't like her, but again, once you start to really understand her role in the series and you understand her character, you start to like her a lot more.
Oh, definitely. One of the big keys to like liking and understanding Fuka is really just sort of like understanding that like it can't really be theft if like Sana never said anything and neither did Akito.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, how was she supposed to know?
yeah. So, what do you think about Fuka's impact on Akito? And what do you think about their whole relationship?
Gosh, that is such a loaded question, but I think I don't know because it's so complicated because Akito was so depressed basically the whole time they were dating. So she never really got the best of him, and I do feel bad for her in that respect. But I think that it gave him clarity that he needed, and it challenged him and kind of forced him to communicate and say hard things. Like I always come back to that the scene in the hospital where he's like, I don't know why, but it has to be Sana, which is such a great scene because it's him acknowledging that. And gosh, if she hadn't come in and shaken things up, would our dumbasses ever have gotten together? Like,
Yeah, yeah, because
you
sometimes,
know?
it just takes somebody else to step in for you to realize, like, oh, I have feelings for this person. And yeah, I've been there
Hmm.
myself, you know,
Yeah.
like just you're going along and you just see this person as a friend and you just have kind of gone through things together. And then all of a sudden there's a potential threat to, them being taken romantically. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling a certain way. And sometimes that can be really painful. So, I know there's a lot of cheesy sayings about like, you gotta hit rock bottom to, see the light
Mhm.
or things like that. I can't really think of any of them right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say.
I
I
do.
think that honestly, junior high, everything that happens in junior high is like that for both Sana and Akito. Akito especially.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I their relationship, especially in the anime, I kind of
I don't want
hate
to talk
how
about the anime.
I kind of hate how in the anime it's like I don't know. I wouldn't use
They
the
just
word
dragged it out.
normalize, not normalize it, but like there's like one episode where like they go on dates and it's like we're supposed to like be okay with all this and it doesn't
I
really like
know.
I don't know, it doesn't really add anything. How do you feel about it?
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, definitely some of my least favorite stuff in the anime is that because they drag out the relationship somehow even longer by doing that. And then there's all of that like silliness with like Sengoku getting overly involved and also Fuga's parents being like, you can't date. And then, lest we forget, Fuga's blindness, which is like, I have so many complaints. You already know how I feel about that. I think it was very dumb and soap opera-y. And like, yeah, it's nonsense. All of it was nonsense.
Yeah, I have
Like,
mixed feelings about the blindness thing. Like I know they were trying to be clever and but again, when you have the manga to compare it to, it's like this kind of cheesy and silly.
it is a little bit, especially because they're like, can't commit. She's gonna be blind, but just for a little while. Like, okay, that's how that works.
Well, you
Um,
remember like the whole thing about it was like, oh, she can't see with her eyes, but
so she can hear how much they love each other. Fuck off. I was so mad.
she can see it now in a spiritual way. I don't know, something
I
like
think
that.
it's I mean, like, frankly, I think it's insulting to Fuka's character that they needed to like blind her to make her understand what was going on with Sana and Akito. She
You
is
know
more
what?
emotionally intelligent than that.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, that is kind of insulting.
Like she is a character who, like, yeah, I mean, she's immature because she's 13, but like for the most part is probably one of the more mature and more emotionally mature characters in our little group of five. So, ugh, it's fine. I'm fine. I think their relationship was good in the sense that like it sort of showed Akito the light, so to speak. But also I think that I don't know if him and Fuka would have become good friends without dating.
Yeah.
And so like because they started dating and like had, were exchanging CDs and had like conversations and were close in that friendship kind of way, I think that's what enables them to stay friends later. Because otherwise I think like, oh, that's just like Sana's weird friend and Fuko just be like, ah, it's that guy from kindergarten, and they probably wouldn't have bothered, but they both did have they had that interest in each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all over the place on that one. What do you think?
Uh, I mean, I agree with everything you said, so I don't really have anything else to add.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I guess it's getting into the sauna of it all. I
Yeah,
have
that's a lot to unpack too.
indeed. I have four. I actually only have one bullet point and four words written, which is just they save each other.
They do. They really do.
You know, I'm like, I'll kind of die on that hill a little bit because I think a lot of times when we think about Kodocha, we think mostly of what Sana did for Akito. And it's a lot, obviously. By being her busybody self, by not being able to leave it alone, she is the catalyst for a lot of positive change in his life. But Akito is also the first person to like kind of truly see her and see her for all that she is, not just what she should be or like what she thinks she should be, and is the first person to offer that support to her.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that at the end of the day, the whole series is them saving each other.
Yeah, the relationship is very. I love the way that Obana is able to. She's able to like they complement each other so well. Like
Hmm.
it's amazing how she was able to do that in the most subtle ways in the series. And I love that they, it's not just Sana, helping him grow to be more mature. She gets more mature growing alongside him as well.
Hmm.
He's kind of the one that really gets that tells her the truth about Ray not being her actual boyfriend. Like
Hmm.
no one else has ever put that idea in her head before. So they
Hmm.
they definitely challenge each other,
Hmm.
especially early on in the series. And that's what I love about their relationship because, there's not going to be growth or even it's not going to be interesting to read about if there's no challenge. And I think this
Mm.
all applies to real life as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think something that you said made me think this. Something else that Akito does for Sana is he's kind of one of the only people that like kind of holds her accountable because
Yeah.
her impulse is to run. And he's like, cool, I'll just chase you then. And sort of like makes her confront, and in a very literal sense, especially in the final arc of the manga, like forces her to confront and take accountability for what's happening around her. Do we have anything else on that, or do we want to get into like favorite moments?
I want to go ahead and get into favorite moments because
Let's do
actually,
it.
this is the part of the podcast I've actually been looking forward to the most tonight.
Me too. Okay, you start.
So, yeah. So, I didn't want to make like a top five or top 10 list because it was way too hard. I sat down and I was
Yep.
like, all right,
Hmm.
top five. Mm-mm. And it's
Can't be
just hard
done.
yeah, it's hard to rank these moments.
Hmm.
So, I mentioned this earlier in the podcast. So, one of my favorite moments is really it's the only time that we see Akito so like at his most vulnerable, and it's during the last volume
Hmm.
when they've run away together and he's Sana's going through her doll syndrome and she's not unable to smile, and he tells her that she she's not even thinking about like how he's gonna feel when he has to leave her, and he just breaks down in
Hmm.
tears. And it's just such a beautiful moment, and that's another
Hmm.
one of those moments in the series where it's really hard not to read it and not cry.
Oh, 100%. That like the I'm the one who's going to fall apart like gets me every freaking time.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I also love that in that chapter when they go to Dreamland, the amusement park, and he rides roller coasters with her, even though he is canonically afraid of heights.
Hmm.
Like, I was like, what a good boyfriend.
I
I
know.
think I have a wide variety of moments on my little list, but I am just such a big Tsuyoshi and Akito bromance fan. I love their friendship so much. One of my favorite moments is in chapter 6 of the manga where Tsuyoshi's like, you have to choose your best friend or a girl. And Akito goes, that's easy, a girl.
I love that moment too. And I love how in both the anime and manga, like he is so blunt to the point where it's just like he delivers some of the most brutal one-liners I think
It's
I've ever
so true.
heard.
I love it.
Okay, I was gonna say, and I know like it's kind of bad, but in the English dub of the anime, when him and Tsuyoshi are confronting Ray, and Ray's kind of trying to explain, what's going on, and and Akito just like low key drops like, "Oh, you must be a child."
But
Like what? Like I was not expecting him to like say that.
said the quiet part out loud. That's our
Yeah.
boy.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. Like,
He sure
whoa.
did. He said the
Like they're
thing.
what? They're like 11 years old. Like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Jesus. That's
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. Oh, poor Tsuyoshi always having to follow behind to be like, I'm sorry about my friend to like the entire world.
Yeah.
Um, Always funny. And then I also love the way that Akito kind of like takes care of Tsuyoshi in a way. A favorite moment is in it's whenever they're having like school swim lessons in the pool in one of the early chapters, and Tsuyoshi isn't wearing his glasses in the water, and he's like, I can't see. And Akito's just like, follow the noise.
Yeah, I like that too.
Oh, it's so good. They're so special to me, my boys.
So, what are some of your other favorite moments?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's I think I don't hate you. Um, is a big one.
Yep. The
Chapter
meaning
9.
of that statement in
Yep.
the fandom.
Kirai
Yep.
Janai. It's so special to me. That's a really great one. It's also it's great art too. In almost all of these moments, it's like, oh wow, I just love how Obana like drew that or like how that moment was like conceived or staged, I guess, so to speak. Like the art there is so good, so beautiful. I love in chapter 15 when Sana goes to the Hayamas to kind of escape the post my daughter and I stuff that's going on, and he hugs her and he just looks so serious,
Hmm.
and I just it's so nice that our girly has somewhere to go to cry. Yeah.
I love all those moments where they just like break down with each other.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite in the series. Like there's so many good ones too. And
Yeah.
like, like they always feel like Obana never overdoes it. Like she always
Hmm.
puts these moments in the perfect places throughout the manga. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're each other's safe space. And I think that's like why they both do so emotionally poorly when they are separated. Like when
Hmm.
Sana goes filming in the mountains, or even just like when like the prospect of Akito being far away for multiple years is enough to like trigger a huge reaction, really for both of them. Uh,
Hmm.
because I even love that moment in it's when one of the later chapters when Fuyuki's like, like why do you want to stay in Japan so badly? And he doesn't say it, but he's like thinking of Sana and he's like, well, like, because he's got a
Yeah.
good reason.
There's so many good moments. It's like
There
we could be
are.
sitting here all night talking
Oh my
about them.
gosh, we could. We could. I think I will. It's so hard. I think I will pick one more from my list, which is in chapter 46, I think. It's when Sana is in the throes of doll syndrome, and Naozumi has given Akito some romantic advice. He's like, say nice things to her, say sweet things to her, whisper sweet nothings in her ear. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna try it. Chocolate, cake,
Oh, yeah.
donuts. And
I
she's like,
forgot
are
about
you
that
hungry?
scene. I totally forgot about that scene.
I love it so much because in his mind he's like, Naozumi, I tried. And I'm just like, oh, my boys. And there's just so funny. So he took that so literally, which is just another thing about him that I love, which is that when he's not trying, he will drop the most romantic stuff you've ever heard. But like the minute that there's like pressure on it, he's like, I don't know how to speak. Like, oh man. What about you?
Let's see. So I mentioned the moment with Akito in the hospital.
Mm.
But I want to continue on with the kind of lighthearted stuff for the rest of this podcast, just because I don't know. I feel like we already touched a lot on the heavy stuff.
Yeah. Hard
Uh,
not to with this boy.
yeah, it is. Let's see. I actually wrote down all the serious moments, but like forgot to put down I always do this. Probably because when I do my videos, like I tend to
Yeah.
focus on the really serious stuff. So it's like when we do the podcast, I do that too. I need to stop doing that.
It's like this is a comedy series, and yet I don't think people would know that necessarily from listening to our podcast.
It's such a weird mixed bag of everything in this series, but
Yeah,
that's what makes it so great. But it's like, yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm so dark and edgy. I always focus on the darkness, but
Well, I mean, to be fair, your videos all have like sort of an academic and psychological angle to them, so you are digging deep. So
yeah,
it makes sense to me.
I wish I could just stop doing that. Like that's just where my brain goes all the time. And it's like I always listen to you and what you have to say, and you always pick up like every episode. You're like, I like this moment because like it shows like the roller coaster thing that you mentioned.
Hmm.
Like he's afraid of heights, but he's getting on these roller coasters with Sana, and that's cute that he's doing that for her. Like I wish I could pick up on these cute moments like you do. And it's like I always like pick up on like oh this person is suffering in this moment.
Listen, I think it's a valuable skill. I also think it's part of what makes you and I a good team and good balance, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That you can find those things. I can be deeply unserious and joke all the time. And between the two of us, we hit, I think, most of the important stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So let me think.
okay. You can do pick one of your sad ones then, and I'll see if I can.
No, actually, I just thought of one of my favorite funny
Ooh,
moments.
ooh, go, go, go.
So I just love, and this is kind of it goes along with the whole Tsuyoshi Keto bromance thing, but it's
Mhm.
still technically more of an Aikido moment. But I love that moment in the anime where like the principal Naru comes up to him and he basically like says, my friend's running a dojo, like, and you want to do karate and like he's like, yeah, like just like casually, like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like Tsuyoshi's in the background. He's like, wait, what? You will? That's one
I
of my
love it.
favorite moments.
I will say, like, the way Akito does kind of like deadpan is like, because he gets to be the straight man, I think, a lot to Sana's like funny man. And so he always
Hmm.
gets to be kind of like, not necessarily the butt of the joke, but definitely like the contrast that makes things funny.
Yeah.
So I love that's a good one. That's a good one. That same episode also, when Naozumi comes up to them and says hi, and then Akito's like, "Hey, he speaks Japanese."
Yeah.
Um, and then Naozumi's like, "That is because I am Japanese." And he's like, "Half or what?" Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So blunt. Like I
Akito, you
said,
can't just
brutally
ask people why
blunt.
they're white. Like Mean Girl style. It's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I can get away with doing this whole episode without mentioning the Christmas Eve, like date, their first date.
I was actually just thinking that. Yeah, I had
Oh
that
my
one written
gosh.
down
What's
because
your
that's
favorite part?
oh gosh. Honestly, it's just that one panel where like Akito gets like super like flustered
Mhm.
because I think this is during the date. I can't remember exactly, but he gets super flustered because Sana's like, "I'm all yours," and he's just like does not know how to react. He's like,
Oh my gosh, yes.
cannot compute." No, I actually really like the first part of that date because like when they go
Mhm.
ice skating, like Fuka shows up and like it's kind of
Yeah.
awkward. But I like when they go and visit Akito's mom. I think that's a really
Yeah.
wholesome moment.
It's very beautiful. Yeah, that whole chapter, like beginning to end, I really love. But in the Fuka run-in is also really nice because it kind of in some way forces them to kind of talk about it because Sana's been kind of like being kind of pouty and jealous and like, about Fuka, and they've kind of had this weird argument, but then actually seeing her sort of forces them to talk about it a little bit more, and the boy comes out with one of those incredibly, beautiful romantic things where he's like, Fuka's really nice. I think of her as a friend. But for me, there is only you.
Hmm.
Excuse me while I bang my fists on the ground and scream.
Same.
So good. Also, then when they go back home to the Hayama's house and Sana sees the sweater that she knitted on his dinosaur.
Yes.
He's
Oh,
such a
that
cutie
scene.
pie.
I actually put that one on my my top 10 or my top 5 Sonic and Keto moments. That one's like number 5, I think.
It's
I made
so
that
good.
video like a year ago, but yeah, no, that moment is so underrated too, in my
I
opinion.
love it. It's so funny. It's so cute, and then just like, I don't know. It's just such a little turning point for them, also. Oh man, do we have anything else? I could keep going, but
I
in
know,
the
it's
interest
like
of time.
we could definitely do a part 2, which, you know, w- dear listeners, how would y'all feel if like we did part 2s to character episodes? Like maybe do another one about Sana or another one
That's
for Keto because there's just so much to cover.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you, especially because I re-listened to our sauna episode to kind of prep for this one. And like, we didn't do a bad job. It's a good episode, but like, there's just so much. Like, we had 102 episodes and 10 volumes. It's not, it's a good chunk of content to comb through and consider.
Yeah. No, I definitely like I'm sitting here and we've been talking for a while and it's like I still feel like I have so much I want to say, but I feel like I almost need a little bit more time too to gather my thoughts about
Yeah.
some things. Because again,
Hmm.
Keto's a very complex character.
Hmm.
I would argue that he's a bit more complex than Sana in some ways, but Sana's also very complex too, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
But it's like there's so much to unpack, and like I said, I always focus on
Hmm.
the suffering, the
The angst. Yeah.
angst.
No, I'd definitely be down to do a part two. I mean, the fact, like Akito being so complex, and I know I haven't talked about, well, because I haven't been writing Kodocha fan fiction in a bit, but when I was doing that with more regularity, my whole little project, Akito point of view, was literally just me trying to like sit down and chapter by chapter get to know him better and think more deeply about him. And it's one of the things that made him one of my favorite characters, or basically made him my favorite character.
Mhm.
Was really doing that project because you're right. There's so much to think about there. How he's feeling, why he reacts the way he does, taking into account his past, all of those things.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I could go on and on. I mean, that's why I have my YouTube channel, so I can talk about this. Uh,
Definitely fair. All right, should we call it?
yeah, I'm sitting here and like my mind is still kind of flooded with like all these moments, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, we're
Mm-hmm.
definitely gonna have to do a part 2 of
Yeah, I
Aikido
think
at some
so.
point.
At some point, yeah. That could be fun. That could be a fun live show, especially if we
Yeah,
get like if some of our more regular pals come and keep that chat going as you so often do. That could be fun. That could be a fun little group discussion.
I think that might be fun to do for next month. Kind of have that as like a little like special thing to kind of add on to this episode. What do you think?
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
We'll pick a date and it'll be in the description box. Unless we want
TBA.
it. Yeah, TBA. We'll look at that. Okay. Well, thanks, pals, for listening.
Yeah, I had such a great time. And I just want to take a moment to thank you all for continuing to support us going on
Mm,
year 4.
I
It's
know.
just the support for all these different projects in the community and our podcast especially has just been mind-blowing to me. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely agree. I don't know if I thought we'd still be here in 2025 when we kicked this off in 2022, but I'm so very happy that we are and happy that we get to share this not just with each other and that I got a best friend out of it, but also just with our lovely, beautiful community. It's been a true joy.
Same. All right. Well, I guess we will see you all next month.
Alrighty, see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to 19 O'Clock News, a Kodocha podcast.
19 O'Clock News is hosted by That Kodocha Girl and Mahou Shoujo M.
We love making new friends. Feel free to join us in the Kodocha Discord under Kodocha_media.
19 O'Clock News is not affiliated with any current or previous rights holders to Kodomo no Omocha by Miho Obana.